Hello, esteemed listeners to the Break It Down show. Dragan here, I'm a writer for the show. This episode's guest is John Bonzo Butler. He is a multi-instrumentalist. Among the many things Bonzo has done is co-found the Lasso of the Moon project. As COVID locked down live music, folks in the London scene wanted to continue doing what they love. Thus, the Lasso of the Moon isolation sessions were born. The crew has covered Paul McCartney, Rush, Elvis Costello, the Black Crowes, and more. As always, please support the Break It Down show by doing a monthly subscription to the show. All the money you invest goes directly to supporting the show. Join us in supporting Save the Brave as we battle PTSD. So, enjoy today's episode. I'm sure it'll be worth your while.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay
This
Moore.
is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick Marotta.
Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
And this is John Dunn, and you're watching the Break It Down show.
And now, the Break It Down show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
Oh, man, this is awesome. I love it. So first off, we have Wes co-producing, co-hosting, and hopefully co-engineering the episode if I need it. It's always wonderful to hang out with Wes. It's a shame that we don't have John Leon Guerrero here. He tried to be here, but he's got to work today, and he's under a house fixing some things for a client. So that's minus one John of this John heavy show. Hey, John Butler is also called Bonzo, so I'm just going to call him Bonzo. Bonzo, tell us what you were doing earlier today and what you discovered. This is pretty cool.
Okay. Well, as those that know my wife and I, Maddie, and I, we have been mudlarks for years. And mudlark is a term that I think it was certainly around for the Victorian, pre-Victorian time. The mudlarks were the poorest of the poor. And all they would do, they would go into the river of Thames at low tide and find little bits of things that they could sell, but they were absolutely scrabbling on the margin. Thankfully, these days, it's not quite so grim. So whilst mudlarks go down onto the Thames and riverways of London, and we go and look for things. Now, we don't metal detect. That's a different thing altogether. But we go by eye, and we make things out of what we find. So my wife and I have a jewelry business and sculpture business, and it's all provenance, all these bits and pieces. They're fascinating, and some of them go back to Roman times. And today we were out mudlarking, and for the first time ever, we found a musical instrument.
Whoa!
This we found out because we didn't know. I thought it might be. It's an ocarina, and we looked at the dates, and it's by Mr. Mazzetti in Paris. And we think it's probably circa 1900, 1910. So it's been in the mud, sort of buried for best part, 100 years. It's spent the last hour in disinfectant because it's pretty grimy down there. And I don't play ocarina, and I just say that now. So, but for the first time in 100 years, this will hopefully make a noise if I can get my finger.
All right, let's hear it.
The fingering is really difficult, and I have a feeling it's probably going to sound like a badly played recorder. Hold on.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know. There's a thing. Hold on. Left hand. Oh, man. So you might we're going to get a noise, hopefully. There you go.
My God, a bit of a scale and everything.
First time in over 100 years that's been played, so that's cool.
I have to admit, I own an ocarina album.
Wow! How did Bonzo hold up?
Yeah, it's good.
Is that on the shelf right next to your Johnny Mathis album?
No, it's in Belgium on my parents' CD shelf. I'll ask them to dig it out.
Please.
If you had a fight between Zamfir and his pan flute and someone playing the ocarina, I think the pan flute's easier to play because you're just blowing over some holes, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Have you done any Break It Down shows, Pete, of albums of ocarina or panpipes.
That's exactly what I was going to get into. Like, you've heard about album fights, I know. So it would be great to have, like mouth harp versus harmonica or whatever it is. Here's the thing I learned the other day, fellas. You guys are all playing instruments and everything, and I can play the guitar, right? I can do all right, but there is a musical version of the washboard. I thought you just grabbed a washboard and put a ring on and just started, strumming it. But I didn't realize there's actually a musical grade washboard. Do any of you own one?
Yes.
No.
I have got one here, actually. I'm not going to play it. No, not now. But I do have one.
Yeah, it's funny because you just think
my dad used to be in a skiffle band in the 1950s, and he played his motorbike by just pulling the throttle and making it roar occasionally. So I think it's the same sort of musical area.
Right.
Well, we've had washboard at Lasso the Moon, right?
We have.
What song was that?
It was their own material, I think.
It was superb. I'm gonna
crazy duo.
I'm gonna look the guys up because they deserve a plug. They are fantastic.
They're very loud.
They're
Yes.
probably instrumentalists, aren't they? As well.
They are.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit Lasso the Moon, and we'll work our way back from there. You guys are all musicians. You used to do a lot of just hanging out at the cafe, playing music and everything, and then that all went away. And so you're losing your minds. And then I'm going to stop telling your story now. And I guess one of you guys fill us in on how Lasso the Moon was born and what is it?
John, do you want to?
Well, John had a chat with the chap that runs the local pub in Hammersmith, basically, and they were talking about putting on a music night, and so we decided to do it together. We called it Lasso the Moon after most people probably know that quote. It's from the wonderful Frank Capra movie, It's a Wonderful Life. It's sort of an aspirational quote, and the idea is to just have anybody along playing acoustic instruments and be a very open, supportive atmosphere, and that's what we had. So, John, carry on.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, what we wanted it to be was that anyone can get up. Anyone can get up and play. You've got a 10-minute slot. Get there early. You play earlier, typically, because you put your name on the list. And we just wanted it to be respectful. And so, we're getting school kids with their mums in the audience, and the kids are playing ukuleles sometimes. And then we're getting professional musicians from the Royal College of Music turning up and playing, 6-piece bands. They're rehearsing new material that they're going to perform at Royal Albert Hall. And every point in between. And we're getting every ethnicity, every age. And it's just great because music is music. And it just unites people, and
it's really turned into a community service, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of people who would not necessarily go out and play suddenly found a platform to bring out an instrument and play their music and be listened to.
Yeah.
Yes. I
mean, there was specifically a couple of people who'd played music very extensively throughout their whole lives and had stopped. I'm thinking one particular chap called Arthur Owen, he's become a great friend of all of ours, played in bands his whole life, right from the early days of the Liverpool beat bands. And had stopped playing it for 10 years and is now back playing again. And it's fantastic.
I was playing a little bit last night with my buddy Brad. We were messing around, and I'm not a very good player. I can play notes and chords and all that, but if it gets too fast, I'm no good. And if it gets too complicated, I'm no good. But like if you say play a B minor 7th, I can do that. That's where I'm at. But I struggle to sing in key, the key that I'm playing in, and I'm not good enough to change the key to my voice's happy place. So I'm sort of useful, except for I'm always sort of fighting, trying to stay in key. Where does that put me on the he's a musician hierarchy?
Very welcome. Honestly, mate, you would be very welcome. When you are next over here, that's if we're running again. I mean, the whole COVID thing sort of put a bit of a downer on things, but you would be very welcome. We'll find something that we can all play as an ensemble.
Just
The
play
other
a
thing-
country song. Johnny Cash, Willie.
Well, yeah, you got to go there. That's always good.
I don't
Yeah.
mind me going flat every now and then. I don't know how to fix that yet. You know.
Well, you know, we all do that.
It worked for Johnny Cash, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, by the way, my buddy Brad's chiming in. Pete lies. He has a great voice and great timing. I'm not reading that to promote myself. Just Brad is paying me a compliment, so I'm going to let him. But the sessions themselves, though, the isolation sessions that you guys started doing are just fantastic. Whether it's Wes singing, Tom Sawyer, or you guys, was it John Dunn? Were you the one singing Washington the Detectives? I mean, you guys are just.
Yeah.
God damn, you guys are good. And they sound wonderful, and it's just the vibe is cool. I think who sometimes doesn't film, but sometimes who edits those. I guess you guys kind of pass that around a little bit, but it's a community effort to get this done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, it's a community effort very much, but there's one underpinning characteristic, which is Mr. Wes Marbert, who makes it sound fantastic every time. It really does. So yeah, it's a group effort, and it was very much. John and I were very conscious that Last Year the Moon live sessions were such a lifeline to people who were isolated, and people who it was the best thing in the month. People who come up to us and said, this is what I look forward to every month. The ability, the chance of getting up in front of, people who, love live music and are respectful. They don't talk all the way through it, which is lovely. The audience, are respectful. And the good thing is, if the music isn't to somebody's taste, you've only got 10 minutes of it. You've got 10 minutes left. So it rotates, another band come on, or people want to do an ensemble and say, look, can someone play bass on, I don't know, All Along the Watchtower? Or, you know what I mean? It can be anything.
Yeah.
So John and I were really conscious that this camaraderie, this community thing, because music is lovely like that, and it spans absolutely every boundary that seems to be in place at the moment as well. We decided that we really wanted to keep it on, so hence we did Lovely Day. And that was huge fun. Huge fun. Keeps people involved, keeps people happy, keeps us all making music, and makes other people happy around the world. I mean, it's a win-win.
Wes, when he pays you that compliment to say that you bring it all together, I edit a lot of audio stuff to get that many videos. Because this is just for the audience. If you haven't watched them yet, first off, go check out Last Year the Moon. There's a link here going by, and I'll put it in the show notes. But when you take everybody singing their part or playing their part, and you have to keep it all, like, I don't know if you've got a slate that you guys are snapping or whatever, but that ain't easy, brother, to get all that stuff to work together.
No. I mean, no, there is no template. I mean, it usually starts off with, well, it's usually John Dunn who gets the ball rolling with, like, one of his killer acoustic guides on his beautiful Martin. And then, we find a tempo, decide on a tempo, and then use that guide for everybody to play to. So in that sense, we do have a grid, because it does get quite complicated editing otherwise. And
quite often somebody tells me what I've played is wrong, and so I have to fix it.
Sometimes.
Well, that's
when does wrong stop and new arrangement begin?
Yeah.
Well, I think you have to be careful with these things, because they are covers, and if you rearrange something completely, you might run into problems where they take you down because you've messed with the song. So I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we tried to stick to the original arrangement as much as possible. I mean, yeah, we might drop the key a little bit or whatever, but it's generally pretty true to the original.
So you can mess with key and everything like that to kind of compromise for where you're at, but basically you're supposed to try to stay true to it without messing around too much. Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to change chord structure and melody lines and stuff, that's when you run into potential problems.
Right. How long does it take you to put the sound? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll give it back to you, John. How long does it take you to put
there's other instruments on it as well, but sorry.
Oh, yeah, there are a lot of instruments.
Yeah.
how long does it take you to put that thing together? I mean, time wise.
It varies. Sometimes it takes quite a while because there's a lot of components to deal with, and there might be a bit of back and forth thing. I mean, I think John Dunn was referring to the Bowie one earlier on, and one of the ridiculous players on it is John Klein, who's just, he's not even human. I think he's one of those ridiculous guitarists. But he's such a Bowie aficionado and freak that he'll go, I don't think you quite nailed that bit. And then, there's a lot of back and forth thing, it's like, oh, no. In the original, it's not that inversion, it's that inversion. It gets quite geeky, So, sometimes it takes a while to just bounce things back and forth because we're not in the same room together.
And then, John Dunn, how do you guys decide? So if you're laying down like the Martin, by the way, I got my Martin back from Luthier after my Martin has been to combat zones a lot. So it gets dried out and everything. Yeah, and unhappy. I got it back from Luthier and I just started playing it again. And last night my laptop fell off my dresser and karate chopped my Martin. So now I've got to go right back to the Luthier again. Yeah. It's not like, I don't think it's irreparable, but it's on the side, on the hip, and it just went pa-bam! And then it put a big fat crunchy dent in it.
Those guys can. I mean, mine's got so many dents in it that I treat it as a working instrument, and so
Does it sound? Does it get the sound better? Does it sound the same?
Yes, it does. It's improved. I think it's improved every time I hear it. It gets better.
You can see it's got grooves there. It's grooves there. It's absolute bashes everywhere. It's a working instrument, and that's what it's for.
Yeah.
But hey.
Yeah, right. Hey. So John, you sit down with your Martin and you start strumming along. By the way, in reference to the weather here, it's getting a little sunny inside of my tent, just so you guys know. I'm only rubbing it in a little bit. But
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, in my case, the thing is just blood pressure.
How do you make the choices on who plays what, and how does it grow from there? Like, hey, Wes, you're going to sing. I mean, because you guys all sing so well, you all play so well. How do you figure out who's going to do what on the recording?
Well, I mean, John Butler is a sort of master musician. He's a properly trained pianist, and so he gets called in a lot to do a lot of the keys parts, even though he's a great guitarist as well. And so we try and play to people's strengths, really, and so and quite often we're bringing in other people who've got a very specific skill set, and so we use what they can do.
Yeah. And sometimes push them as well. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but you're definitely pushing me. And I think that's the cool thing about this. You're in a safe environment to push yourself and do something that might not necessarily be in your comfort zone. I just see that Neil Felgate is commented there, and
hello, Neil.
He's played some drums on some of the sessions, and we've definitely pushed him on certain things.
Oh,
I think it was his idea to do the Tom Sawyer one, but it definitely pushed him.
I think that pushed all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, you sang that thing. I mean, and did a great job. And you had Rob Houston sang Hard to Handle, and he did. And I can see why you'd bring Rob in. Perfect for him. And he did his job. And all you guys had to do just get out of his way, let him. I mean, he's performing. He's up there. He's hyped up. It's those things, fellas. Those things are really, really fantastic. Please don't stop making them just because you can go out and start playing live soon.
Oh no, there's more stuff in the works.
Yeah, and Pete, if you've got a request, we'd love to have you on one.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed the mention of Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson earlier.
Yeah,
they're pretty big in the canon, I think, of great acoustic songs, and so I think we need to think about that.
Wait, it's due to my ability to play. Like I can strum and throw a little bit of stuff in between, but as long as I can go one word at a time, I can play. Yeah, it's funny. Well, we'll have to talk about what that might be because that'd be a hoot to do that. The thing I want to ask you also is like the songs are so incredible. I mean, Bill Withers, Rush, everybody, David Bowie. What you guys have no limits. How do you even decide? There are so many great songs to do with what you're doing.
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, when we were doing live stuff, which is what we all love to do, we were hamstrung a little bit and constrained by the fact that we had to be acoustic. We were in the top room of an old Victorian pub in Hammersmith, and there were neighbours next door, and it's fairly stringent, the limits of noise and things that you can put out, because otherwise you get shut down. So that's why we had to make it acoustic. And there's a secondary reason for that too. I played in a band with John and a few of our other friends who were a part of the Lucia the Moon house band for years. And we were doing, John was fronting it. We were doing some absolutely fantastic Bowie stuff, Costello, all sorts of stuff. We loved it. And then I ended up with tinnitus. So I had to say to the band, look, guys, I'm really sorry. I can't play plugged in anymore because, it was a nightmare and I was losing my hearing. So to be able for us to get together as friends and jam stuff out, even if it's acoustic, and you can still get a buzz playing acoustic music. So we're acoustic when we're live, but the ability now that we have is that we can play plugged in separately, but plugged in. So it means we can tackle a whole canon of stuff that we were never able to tackle live.
Can I say that we did still manage to cover some Steely Dan and some Frank Zappa while we were doing it live as well. So
damn right,
it wasn't too limited,
And some Eagles. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think we should give a quick shout out to our other guys, Martin and Al. Martin on drums and Al on bass. Troopers.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to make sure too. I mentioned John Leon Guerrero, my partner, because he's in a cover band, and they would have already been covering stuff and playing out, except for a global pandemic happened. But they've got this great. They're. You might know him, Wes. His name's Andy. Anyhow, he's English, and he brought the idea of. They're called the Uncommon Wealth, and they play like those. Like they'll play Echo and the Bunnymen, Lips Like Sugar, and they'll play Beds Are Burning by Midnight Oil, stuff like that you don't often hear in America at like an open bar kind of setting. And they took on Beautiful Day by U2, which of course I love, but that is no easy song to pull off. There is a lot of stuff going on in that. What would be too hard for you guys where you'd have to kind of pare back what was there? Because there's a lot of songs. I mean, Tom Sawyer's got a lot going on, but what's out there you guys are like, maybe not in this setting?
I don't even know. And do you know what? We're nothing's off limits at the moment.
Well, I think we wouldn't do St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast by Frank Zappa.
No, I'm really keen to do it. Definitely do it. I think
that might be a challenge.
I'm still voting for Pajama People.
Oh yeah, or Whipping Post.
Oh yes.
How long of a version is it? Like the hour-long version?
Exactly.
Yeah. Pajama Rama.
But no, the one we're working on at the moment, which is sort of under wraps, but I think we're going to have to let you guys know. We're doing
spill the beans.
Mr. Blue Sky. By ELO. We're working on that at the moment.
What about doing some female covers? Like before Nancy Sinatra played These Boots Are Made for Walking, it was going to be a Frank Sinatra song. And she said, Dad, you can't sing that. It's cruel when you sing it. Let me sing it. And she was right,
Yeah.
So is there something out there like some Bananarama song or something like that you would take on?
I mean, it would be great. I mean, we've kind of been looking for a couple of, and we've got a couple of gorgeous female singers, as you've heard, but I think it's been more of a timing issue where somebody's not available. But yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
In fact, we've got one in the pipeline, but it's still being worked on with Ray,
Nice.
who will do a nice one. Not telling you what it is.
Just from concept to from John Dunn grabbing that Martin until you push publish on YouTube, how long is that process?
How long is a piece of string?
Quite a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, it does vary. Because the other thing is, Pete, it's Wes works is absolute magic on the audio, and it's such a blessing having Wes in place. Not only is he a lovely bloke, but a fantastic musician. And actually, as an aside, I have to say I'm delighted that during this lockdown time, we've seen more of Wes in front of the mic rather than behind the desk, and that for me has been brilliant. Because he's a fantastic musician, and it's just great. So Wes works his magic. All the stuff goes back and forth. One of us will sort out a backing track. We'll send it over to everybody else once we've decided on tempo and on key and arrangement. And once we've got all that down, we work out who wants to sing what bit and da da da. And then the other bit comes. It's the editing. So we're lucky. There's me and there's two Neils, Neil Cunningham and Neil Felgate, both fantastic guys. Mr. Felgate also, we mentioned earlier, an amazing drummer. So
yeah, it should. And you're right, Neil is an amazing drummer. We had him and his band 10 Gauge on. We saw TJ check in earlier. We mentioned Rob already.
Yeah,
there's TJ's rock and roll horns. What do you guys do for a living? I mean, obviously we know Wes is an engineer producer. Are you guys just running around, finding old clay instruments and selling them on eBay, or what do you Johns do to actually make money?
Well, I used to be network and infrastructure guy in the financial services industry in the city, but I stopped doing that a few years ago.
So now it's just music for you.
It is, yeah. Messing around.
What would your ideal gig be then? Like, given where you are at stage of life and with the pandemic being over, do you want to be on the road with somebody playing? Do you want to play your own stuff? What would you ideally want to do?
Yeah, I'd love to be out playing with some people. Yeah, the more of that, the better.
Right. Absolutely, totally true. Bonzo?
Yeah. Well, I used to be in a similar line to John. Until a few years ago when my wife and I started our jewelry Mudlark Madness business together. So we make the stuff together. We find the stuff together, we shape it and we weave it. You can see it on madelinemarsh.com. Plug. But it's one-off stuff and it's fun. And the lovely thing is it's recycled and it's old. It's interesting. It's decorative. We love it. And we do a lot of commissions. So we will try and find things that are specific to particular people. And we'll make that into jewelry or to mirrors or to sculptures. Just so it's something that isn't generic that you buy on the shelf. It's something that's personal and beautiful. So, yeah, I split my time between doing the madelinemarsh.com stuff, our business, and making music. And I volunteered. I spent 5 years working at a charity not so far from here in London that deals with people who have got mental illness and are on the street, and it's a drop-in centre. And absolutely wonderful thing. And it's based on the part that I was helping with was the music therapy part, which is based on Nordoff Robbins, which I'm sure you might have heard of, who do a lot of fantastic work in rehabilitation of people from all walks of life. Nordoff Robbins is a great, and it's the technique is led by the service user, as they call it. So it's not a dictatorial sort of top-down approach. It's very much a
drats. I was hoping for you to at least be some kind of at least benevolent dictator, if not a harsh one. Everybody's interested.
Oh, never. Oh God, no. It's all about having fun. To me, music and creativity, it's all about having fun, which is why we want you to be on one of our things, mate.
All right. You'll have to. I mean, you could talk me into it. I just have no fucking idea what you guys would want me to do, but I'll give it a shot.
Anything you like. Anyway, we'll talk about this afterwards.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Look,
MadelineMarsh.com, everybody. Look on the screen, you'll see the link there, and then I'll put that in the show notes. Definitely go check that out. You know, we when I was in Iraq working, just so you guys know, I used to be a spy in the army, and so I was deployed in Iraq, and I was in Baghdad, and we found these old dirt mounds that we were digging up as the army and driving over and everything, full of archaeological artifacts, just full of teapots, broken stuff, incredible. And I mean, obviously, you wouldn't want to take those things, but it was amazing to see what was just simply in the dirt. Like to us, it was a mound that you practice driving a big truck over, so you could be good at driving a big truck over mounds. But to history, it was like this horrible destruction of an archaeological site. But that's an old place like the Thames or Baghdad is going to have stuff in the ground if you just brush some dirt out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Thames has been the rubbish bin of England for thousands of years. Anything that wouldn't burn would get chucked in the Thames. So, there is stuff there. Well, it just goes back for.
How often can you go walk around and do your mud bit out there?
Well, you've got to check the tides. You've got to be pretty careful. Quite a lot of the Thames is tidal, and then there's a lock arrangement up near Teddington where it stops becoming tidal, and it's locked as in sort of canal locks. But the rest of it is very tidal, really bad rip tides, rip currents. Nothing in there at all, not in that bit. And it comes in like the clappers, and it doesn't come in flat because, of course, it's like the Thames foreshore is like a contour map.
Yeah.
So you may walk down and say, oh, okay, there's a fair amount of time. But what you don't realize is that some of the stuff is actually lower than, but you just see it's flat. But the stuff will come in, cut you off, and you're marooned, and your bit is getting smaller.
Yeah. Does anybody swim in the Thames at all, or does people stay out of that thing?
Don't want to swim in that bit. It's pretty dicey. And more importantly, you do need a license these days to be a mudlark. You need a license. Because there are a lot of people, what they call night hawking, which is typically metal detecting and selling the stuff they find on. And these are, quite significant archaeological things sometimes. And, I don't know whether you've been aware, but they found some extraordinary things, not just in the Thames, but recently with metal detectors, detectorists as they're called, and stuff that's changed our idea of history, i.e. coins that shouldn't be there. At that time in that hoard, some quite important things.
We have the same thing going on here. Actually, we had a guy from England who found a dinosaur. Actually, the guy that invented dinosaurs basically found a dinosaur, and then they put it off in an archive somewhere, and he's like just waiting for his chance to get after it and to catalog it. And we had him on, and he talked about that. But we've had other guys who study history, and they look at like what we know, and all we find out is that we don't know what we think we know. There were more people in the Americas way before we ever thought, and just all kinds of things like that. When you dig up a new thing and it changes everything, it's incredible. Yeah. Hey, Wes, I wanted to ask you. You were going to be coming over here to the California side of the world a lot more before COVID, and obviously that got held up. How's that looking? Are you going to get a chance to come over and visit some more soon?
Well, let's see when we can travel. But yes, that'd be, I love it there, and I love your backyard.
I'm trying to talk Wes into going down to Rosarito, Mexico with me and getting some lobsters and some cervezas.
As long as we stay well away from TJ, I'm game.
We might have to go through it, but we could go around in a boat though. I got my buddies got a boat.
Yeah, let's take the boat. Yes. Currently, during lockdown, crazy stuff happens, and I suddenly got a message from a guy who I keep bumping into at NAMM, and we've been friends for a long time, Greg Sutton, who's an amazing sort of country rock blues guitarist. And he suddenly got in touch, said, hey, could you mix this song for me? So, I've been keeping the California contacts warm.
Good. And we're trying to get you in with the Cold Stares too. Have you guys hit? They're so goddamn good. Have you guys the Johns, have you guys heard of the Cold Stairs?
No.
We have not.
No.
Send you a link.
I have
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to hear?
I'll send you a link.
They're a duo that sounds like a 5-piece band, and they're not like it's all legit. Like these guys are hard rocking blues, got some gospel mixed into there, and just man, Wes can tell you these guys, they're the real thing, and they've done it. They've exited out of the regular band, like we've signed a deal platform, and they're selling songs to games, TV shows, and so they're at that level where they can headline a tour themselves or only go out with a band that's significant, and above them. But yeah, they're a hell of a band. I'll definitely encourage anybody to go listen to the Cold Stairs if you'd like, just good old fashioned American rock and roll.
X.
Yeah, so this is live. Chris, get in touch.
Yeah, he will. Chris will. He's a busy dude. He doesn't always he's an artist too. So you're like, hey, do this. And he's like, I got to go play my guitar. You guys know how that. I got an airplane going overhead, so I'm trying to mute that out. But let me ask John Dunn a question. John, how long have you been doing music? I mean, you've got such a great voice. I mean, obviously you know how to play instruments, but your voice is just remarkable to me. When did you figure all that out, and when did you get the courage to get in front of that microphone and sing something?
Well, I started playing in bands when I was sort of 13 or 14 or something like that, and very, very badly. And then I ended up playing wine bars when I was about 17, and really I had a dreadful voice, and it's taken me the best part of 40 or 50 years to get to the point where I can bear listening to it. But because I'm still learning things about my voice, about how to sing, because I've never had any proper training, and so it's it's doing it. It's doing it. You just got to do it, and you got to have the confidence and close your eyes and let go. That's the key.
Sounds terrifyingly exciting. I like it.
It is, but that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Express
Yeah.
yourself.
Pete, have you performed much live?
No, not really at all. I mean, I don't think I've ever even done an open mic. I was actually prepping for that at one point, but I just never got around to it. There's a bar in the Keys where you can just literally sign up for us in Key West, which is like a big party place. Everything from Green Berets to transsexual men. They're all there. Everybody in between. Parrot Head, Jimmy Buffett people. And you can sign up for the whole session. I think you can sign up for an hour at this bar, and then people just do shots. And they have a 24-hour – we can watch them doing it right now, because I'm sure they're down there partying. It's incredible. So I was like, I'm going to get ready for that. But I never quite got that work done and signed up for it. So my inaugural appearance is
it needs to happen, man. It's an interesting thing the first time you break that duck, so to speak. It's a sorry, that's an English cricket idiom, not a literal one. It takes a lot of courage. It's really interesting, and it's what I learned when I was doing the sort of music therapy side. In the sense of achievement, the fear, the mastery of the fear. There's so much stuff, and the learning of it, and the fact that I did some time at music school, so we were taught, and I think rightly, that as soon as you set foot on stage, you shave at least 30% off your talent. So you need to be sure that you are playing within your limits.
Yeah.
If you're playing something, particularly for the first time, make sure you know it. Muscle memory. Just make sure, relax, play it relaxed, and make sure it's within your thing. Because the sense of achievement that you get when you're coming off stage, and it's your first time, even if it's not your first time, it's. I understand why musicians just love that, and actors love that. It's that activation thing. It's a big adrenaline boost.
Yeah, and there is therapy in it. I mean, one of the reasons why I learned how to play was I needed something to do when my downtime was going on. Like I said, I'd grab my guitar and sit in my little trailer in Iraq or Afghanistan, and I would just play and sing songs. And so I sort of learned one, like just to play slow. I don't got to play fancy. Maybe I'll do a hammer on or a pull off every now and then. But I also learned what I couldn't sing well. And I don't know, like, I didn't know how to fix that. So I would just find songs that I could sing well. Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings. I could sing those songs and some other things. But I found sort of a sweet spot where I'm like, I know I can sing that. I know I can sing that. I know I can sing that. And I don't know that it's good because I can't hear if it's any good because it's my voice. But, it's you're right. You got to spend some hours in your canon to figure out what your canon is.
Yeah.
And then you give it to Wes and he makes it sound amazing, whatever you're singing.
Wes, why are you so goddamn good at this? Is this natural for someone who's in your line of work, or do you think you really are exceptional at what you do? And no fair like being humble. I want to know honestly.
No, I don't think any of that. I just like doing what I do, and I guess when you like doing what you do, you put the effort in and you care. It's all about the care. When those guys send a song, it suddenly becomes my song, and I want them to be awesome, and I want people to comment about how awesome they are. So you sort of, I don't know, you turn into a bit of a daddy of the project. You sort of go, yeah, this is going to be great because I want John and everybody else involved to go, check this out. This is what we did. How cool is that?
Well, so here's my deal. If I'll find something that I can strum along on or sing along, whatever, that's fine. But you guys got to get John Leon Guerrero and his big deep ass pocket playing drums on a song too, because he's good. And I don't know if you've seen him play at all, Wes, but he can do it.
Not yet. No. But I want Guam Boy on something. If it's you, it's going to be you too, though, right?
I mean, I can do that, or I can do something else too. It doesn't have to be U2. I do love U2 and can play some U2 songs, but it's
Love Is Blindness. Those are my two favorites.
Oh man, yeah. Someone else would have to do that solo at the end of Love Is Blindness. One, I'm not that angry, and two, I'm not that good.
But do you know what, Pete? It's amazing when you're put to it. When you've agreed to do a solo, or what, and you go, yeah, I've agreed to that. It's amazing how that focuses the mind, and your technique leaps because it has to. And unless you've only got Django Reinhardt style, two fingers at work, in which case big sort of stretches are going to be difficult. It is the best way of getting better.
And you've got to be happy to record it 50 times before you get it right as well.
Yes. And this is true.
And it's a safe environment, though. I mean, if it takes 2 months, 3 months, that's fine. We're not going to go, we need it tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. It's going to go, when you're ready, when you're done, you send your part and we'll make it work. And if something's not quite right, you do it again.
But it's not live. That's the key.
It's only going out when we're done and when we're happy.
Yeah, that is true. Like, you get to see the polished, finished product that everybody's at least done fighting about. Like, it may not be what everybody wants, but it goes out. There's a great story that Exhibit tells about Dr. Dre, and I think Wes has probably heard me say this before, but for the audience, like Dr. Dre will have some new rapper come in, and they're like, I got all the rhymes, I got everything, and he's like, that's good. Get up there in front of the mic and start talking, and then they'll do their whole thing, and he'll go, do it again, do it again. Do it again. Do it again. And then he'll just work them to death. And then if they go, you know what, I got to take a break. He's like, all right, I'll be right back. Yeah. He's not coming back. You do exactly what Dr. Dre says. And that's it. Because he knows how to get the best out of you. He knows what he's listening for. In that ear that only some people have to hear everything. Like, I can hear like, oh, there's a hum in that. Or through my tinnitus, I might hear something else. Like, I got that stuff too, John. But that ear is incredible. And you need someone in your band like Wes that can hear everything. I don't know, Wes, I don't know how you walk through NAMM, by the way. That cacophony, it's so crazy.
It's with earplugs.
I never thought about that.
Wes and I were out there a couple of years ago. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago now?
3 now.
Must be 3 now. We lost a year during lockdown.
Yeah.
I was helping out a great buddy of mine, Dave Ranger, who makes the most amazing guitar effects pedals you've ever seen, and he's been winning awards left, right, and centre. But he is a mad professor. He looks like a mad professor. He's the most wonderful, bright guy, but an amazing bass player and an amazing guitarist. A really unusual style, extraordinary. So we were working out there with, and I have never experienced noise like that. And I had tinnitus before I went there. So, oh man, you know what it's like. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
That's why you need to hang out with the Pro Audio guys, because they don't make as much noise.
Yeah.
It's the guitar hall and the cymbal section, and fucking trumpets.
I was going to say, they put the brass and the drums in the same little quadrant.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be going in that particular bit at all.
Yeah,
that's
but
actually not the worst place, though. I think the worst place is downstairs, like in the super cheap booth area.
Yes.
And it's more like an Asian bazaar down there.
It is.
It is crazy down there. There's all kinds of nonsense that has nothing to do with music, and it's a totally different show in that part of the building.
It's karaoke machines and cheap accordions.
Yeah, and lots of neon lights.
That sounds like a good time to me.
There's no shots there, though. See, John, this is the problem.
That's no, it's a good job, Wes. Honestly, that you didn't crack the ears, man. I mean, it's so difficult, and the ears are everything to us. Yeah, I mean, Wes is extraordinary. His turnaround is really good as well in terms of receiving stuff and getting it out the door, and it sounds amazing. I mean, the case in point, and if your ears weren't as good as they are, my friend, I mean, this really wouldn't have happened. I had our lovely friend Dave Kent, Blind Dave, who's a member of La Sue the Moon. We haven't mentioned him yet, and he's quite a geezer. Played with a band called The Men They Couldn't Hang, that were a big sort of alt outfit over here. Good harmonica player, great harmonica player, and a great singer. Proud Swansea man, great, proper Welsh delivery, amazing voice. And he told me it was 6 weeks before Christmas. He said, "JB, we were down the pub, down the Boozer, and Pete, when you're over here, if the Boozer ever opens up, you're coming down to our local." Okay,
great. Too.
And he said, "Right, in 6 weeks' time, I'm going to do a TV show, live webcast for the Guide Dogs for the Blind, which is a fantastic cause." And he's an ambassador for Guide Dogs and has had a guide dog for many years. He said, "I'm going to do this thing." And he'd been singing with us at La Sue the Moon. So he said, "Can we do a song to do for the show with La Sue the Moon?" And I said, "Well, yeah, of course." So we took a look at stuff, and of course, copyright issues and all Guide Dogs want to do is make money and not pay out money in licensing fees. So I wrote something, we got people involved, and Wes absolutely pulled it out of the hat at the end. It sounded absolutely fantastic. And we've got our guide dog now. We've got our first guide dog that from the money from that we raised. It's on YouTube. It's on the La Sue the Moon site. Together We Shine. And Wes and John was a fantastic part of that. And we just had this wonderful coming together, but in such a short period of time.
Right.
Amazing.
This is one of the things that's remarkable about the democratization of music publishing is that you can do something like this and just put your effort and talent into something that creates money. Like, let's say that La Sue the Moon grows another 10% in the next year in terms of spins on YouTube. You will be making some money. If it grew by 50%, you'd be like, we have money to work with. I mean, it's possible to do these things. And it's just remarkable when you're able to do that and find a cause that's worthwhile and people can just immediately contribute to it.
That's true. With the music, sadly, because it's covers and there's copyright restrictions, we can't monetize.
Right.
So, which is really sad. But no, sad in some ways, but in other ways, you want the person who wrote the song to get the money.
And they're working on solving that. I'm working with a startup called Trubify, and they're trying to get all that stuff negotiated so that if you do a cover, the label, everybody gets paid, and they're working on that problem. And they're pretty far down the path to get it figured out. We'll see what happens, but
It's good.
that change is continuing to happen. Where if not them, somebody is going to crack the code, and so that, I mean, I was asking. I had a guy the other day on. He did a biography of George Orwell's 1984, and I said, "Who's getting George's money?" And he's like, I actually don't know, but someone's getting George's money. It's just like all these different artists. Matter of fact, Chris from the Cold Stairs was doing a cover of an old blues singer. I can't remember, Broken Willie or something. I can't remember his name. The dude's been dead for 100 years. And they did a copyright violation on him. He's like, you guys never paid. This guy died penniless. And now someone who didn't even write the music is coming after me because I'm honoring somebody by keeping their name alive. We're getting better at that, though.
Yeah.
Well, I know that George Blair's widow refused David Bowie the right to use 1984 as
that's right,
musical about it. And so I assume that she's the one that still owns the or her family, the Blair family, as they were, because his name was Eric Blair, would have continued to own the copyright, and it lasts for 100 years, I believe. And so there's somebody still getting that money somewhere.
Somebody, here in America, as long as you're still relevant, you can redo the copyright, and so it's basically indefinite. And she's dead, and they didn't have any kids, so someone.
So you're more up to date than me then.
Well, just because I had this guy on the show the other day, and he's like, I had done all this research. He's like, this guy's sort of related via godson, but he's not living like he's got a bunch of money. So I don't know where that money's going. Anyhow, a lot of people make a lot of money, and they're in line before the artist a lot of times, unfortunately.
True.
Wes, tell us some great stuff about these Johns. You know these guys so well. What's still inside you?
Well, we just like hanging out. I mean, we haven't hung out for a year,
right?
We used to hook up at the pub all the time. We used to go to each other's houses and have cook-offs and stuff like that. Who makes the best Italian sauce and all that shit.
I don't think we worked out who that is yet.
We never worked it out because they were.
We just enjoyed
it. We just eat it and enjoy it. These guys are great. I mean, it turns out that Bonzo worked in an area of Belgium where I grew up.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So we can always chat about locations there and stuff like that. I just like listening to John Donne speak. Even if he's not singing, it's just a speaking voice. So I like that. I like that gravel.
We had the voice, the stadium voice for the Dodgers. That's this team here on the show, and he's like, he had that voice. He's just born with it. And he said he was an EMT, and one day he's like saving some guy's life, and the guy's like, "What are you doing here? Why are you with that voice helping me? Go do something with your voice." Great,
fantastic.
Yeah.
So one of the things Wes hasn't told you, which you may or may not know, is he is a fantastic cook, a really remarkable cook, which he obviously does for fun, But we've had some very fine culinary evenings.
Yes.
Yes, I do know this about Wes. And actually, you guys may not realize this, but we're now all connected to the curry guy, so we can set up an event and have him cook for us because he's become a friend of the show now. So not only can we come out and drink some beers at the public house, we can also get Dan, the curry guy, to come down and whip up some awesome. Do you guys know the curry guy at all? Have you guys heard of Dan Toombs at all? Oh man, he's out there. He's in England. I think he's in the northern part of the country. But yeah, he makes a fucking really. I mean, he's incredible. So we'll have to do some kind of a thing when I come out. We'll raise some money for charity or something,
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Yes, definitely.
What else should we cover? We got a few minutes left.
Okay. Well, we're working on Mr. Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Revolution by the Beatles.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There's some Motley Crue in the offing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Some Tom Jones. We're doing Mama Told Me Not to Come.
Yes.
Which is a corker.
Which was Three Dog Night originally, right?
Three Dog Night originally. Yeah. I mean, there's tons. Oh, and of course, Get the Funk Out.
Oh, Get the Funk Out by Extreme. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Drift Away.
And Drift Away by
Oh.
Doobie Gray.
Nice.
There's a whole raft of stuff coming up.
Man,
It's exciting. It's really exciting. And you
I'm
know,
excited for you guys. I love Last Through the Moon Day. When you guys put something out, I love it. I always try to share it. It's just so good, you guys. You do such a great job.
yeah,
It is
and
such a
that's why we do it.
pleasure.
That's why
Yeah.
we do it. We do it for us, but we also absolutely do it for everybody else. Because heck, it's been a tricky old year for everybody.
Yeah.
And anything that just gives your brain a 5-minute holiday is got to be a good thing, and it's upbeat and it's people, playing their stuff, doing their stuff, having fun, coming together. It's got to be good. So delighted you like it.
Yeah, well, and the thing is you've created something wonderful, the whole lot of you. And there's been plenty of bad things from 2020 and the pandemic, but here's something really remarkable. Everybody really should go check it out. Just type in Last Through the Moon and just keep looking for when you see Tom Sawyer or Watching the Detectives, and they'll come right up. There's links in the show notes. You can always do that. Just in general, again, thank you guys for coming on and everything else. Anything else you want to talk about before we go? No? All right.
We're looking forward to getting out there and meeting people and playing shows and having fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody get out and do or go see live music as however you can right now, and then keep supporting it. These people are incredible.